Gotham Season 5, Episode 5, Penadura. So I apologize for this review being late. I honestly did not realize the show actually aired last week, and for whatever reason, it just didn't record. Like, I don't even have a box. It's literally all online. There's no reason it shouldn't have recorded. It recorded the most recent episode, so I don't know what the heck happened. I thought it was on break, because a lot of my other shows actually went on hiatus for like a week or two. So I actually just thought it was one of the ones that went on break. I thought it went a week early, and then it was back this week. And it turns out it just didn't take a break. It was on, and it just didn't record. I have no idea what happened. It just never recorded. And then I was like, all right, time to get back into Gotham. And then I was like, I didn't see all the stuff in the preview was from this episode. And I was like, I missed an episode because the super thing never recorded. Super weird. But went back, checked out the episode, certainly enjoyed it. It was definitely an interesting episode, seeing what I would have to assume is the very beginning of the crazy like war scene that we get at the in the very first episode of this season. And it's Jim and everybody else teaming up to take on what seemed like an army. I was like, okay, I assume that this is going to be like military. And this seems to be the start of that, where Jim has the old buddy come in. He ends up saving his life. They go back and forth throughout the episode. And we get to the end as we have kind of this mystery revolving around Ed, where he's like, something happened to me. He goes to Penguin. He's like, hey, I did that just to, me saying that I'm going to fix you. That was legitimate help. But I admittedly did ask, Hugo Strange to do something. So Hugo Strange being the guy, he probably did something weird. Turns out the government, I guess, came to him. Like, the way they did it, it was very interesting, because it's not the character, but the way they were playing it, I was like, man, this feels like something they would do with Amanda Waller, who is the woman that controls the Suicide Squad. And I thought that was very interesting, because it's like, oh yeah, we're going to have Hugo Strange, who, of course they know he's a criminal, so we're going to have this criminal implant this crazy mind chip device inside of Enigma, so that we can mentally control him and say like, hey, we want you to do this so that we can have this thing happen. So really crazy stuff. And it was, I guess the whole point was to destroy Gotham. I mean, if it wasn't Ed and the split between Ed and the Riddler, then it was just them controlling him, basically to kind of bring about more chaos, so that they could basically be like, hey, we have a really great excuse to basically actually send an actual unit in. And then we have Jim here, and it's like, all right, well, now that you know all this stuff, shoot Ed in the head, and then you're good. Like, you're officially in. It was just insane. I was like, this is freaking ridiculous. Like, it went comic book. Like, it was just like, this is so insane that it almost doesn't make sense. It was like, why would they put so much effort in to like destroy Gotham when they don't need to? Like, they killed a bunch of innocent people to do this sort of thing. And it's like, what is the end goal here? So I'm super curious. I'm like, I don't know what in the world's happening, but can't wait to see how that plays out. The other story that really takes place in this episode, I would say, is Bruce kind of going about the motions of talking to Selina, and she's doing her thing. It's like, she's celebrating and stuff at the club and everything. I did love the scene where she tells him, like, I did nothing. Like, I was there when it happened. I saw what happened. And he was like, you're just a scared kid. And she was like, no, like, you were the scared kid. Like, I just didn't care. And that's how I still am. And I thought that was actually a really great moment for her character. I just thought it was just a well done scene. But I was like, okay, that's interesting. Of course, we have Jeremiah still being alive, which I wasn't surprised by, even though he got stabbed a bunch. I was like, he should be dead. But of course, like I figured, he wasn't dead. So he ends up surviving. We'll see how that messes up, everyone that's celebrating currently. So we'll see how that ends up playing out. But I'm looking forward to where things are headed for this next episode. I cannot wait to see how in the world Jim manages to pull himself out of this one. I love the Batman joke that they made in this, where Bruce left Bullock, and Bullock was like, kid's fast. I love that scene. That was funny. But all in all, it was a good episode. Still wish we found out what happened with Lee. I assume the actress just left. And that's why she hasn't shown up. I think I'm gonna actually look it up this time before I end up watching the next episode. But I'm just like, man, she's just nowhere to be found. I was just waiting. I was thinking this was gonna be the episode where somehow Lee was the one that was actually in control of Ed, and it was kind of like her final bit of revenge, and she, taken off, somewhere else. And then that ended up not being the case, and it turned out to be, the government. But really liked the episode. Just classic Gotham insanity, where it's like, wow, okay, so the government did it. And that's just, the government did it, and they killed a bunch of innocent people. They've been controlling Ed. They had a chip implanted in his brain, which was a crazy scene where Hugo's working on him, and he sprays him, and he talks about, like, it limits mobility, but it doesn't limit, feeling and like your senses and stuff. So he's, slices his head open and all this insanity. And so then, of course, when he like releases him, like he gets up and he's screaming. So I was like, that was kind of interesting. But it was a good episode. I'm definitely looking forward to the next one. But I don't know what the heck they're going to be doing with this. I mean, obviously, I guess it leads to the end where they're fighting against the U.S. government or some small faction, which I don't know how they're going to ultimately determine the difference to like everyone outside of Gotham. How do they make that claim? Like, hey, these guys killed innocent people. So I don't know how that's going to work out. And you still have the government go into the city to kill everybody. So it'll be weird. I'm very excited to see how in the world this season ends. Now that I know, like now that we're kind of kicking it up and it's like, all right, it officially is the army. It's this weird section. So that could be a weird government thing. It could be, sort of a Suicide Squad deal. And it's, like I said, it's not Amanda Waller, but her name is super close. I think, or is it Waller? It's something. It's like Walker, but maybe I was mishearing it, and it really is like Amanda Waller the whole time, which would make sense because she is older than the characters in the comics, so she would be the same age as Jim, like at this point, but also she'd be super young, so it wouldn't make sense that she'd be in control at this point, like mid 30, early to mid 30s, that sort of thing. It would be weird if she had that much control already. But comic books, it really doesn't matter. I mean, Bruce Wayne, so comic books, it doesn't matter. Sense doesn't need to make sense. But either way, looking forward to the next episode. Of course, we'd love to know what you guys thought about this one, so please put your comments down in the comment section below. Let me know your favorite parts about it, least favorite parts about it. And I would love to know what you guys thought about the reveal behind who was controlling Ed and like that whole mystery, because I think like everyone else, I just assumed it was the split personality thing again, and so we're only seeing it from the side of the Riddler, and so we don't get to see what Ed is up to, and that's kind of the big part of the mystery. So I thought it was interesting. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what else it could have been if Ed was, I guess his plan really would have just been to start a war anyway. So either way, it ultimately comes out to be the same thing. This is just crazier because it's not just a split personality thing again. It's like, no, you're just being mind controlled by someone. So that kind of pushes out the whole split personality. Like we're just dealing with the Riddler. So that does kind of add an interesting dynamic to it when I was like, okay, so Ed is still around, but that's not really the case. It's really just Riddler at this point. So I thought that was kind of cool. Like they've officially blended, and they thought, they kind of played us like it was back to the split personality, but it's not. It's still the two of them together. It just, the Riddler just assumed, which I think is a cool concept. So I hope they touch on that a little bit more, where the Riddler realizes like, oh, the split isn't there anymore. I just thought it was. So we'll see how that ends up playing out and how he's going to get out of being mind controlled. I don't know if they'll hit him with the EMP deal. That seems like the easiest answer. Just, EMP, boom, it wipes him free. So we'll see what happens. But I would love to know what you guys thought about the reveal of, how he was being mind controlled and stuff like that. And of course, what you guys thought about this episode in general. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.